Hi, everyone. Time for another hello in the beginning of the week. I thought I'd check in and send another dispatch. I did finally get to Lyons on Friday. Did a third landscape there. It's very energized. I'll post a picture. It's not done. Need to fine tune it, get everything. But I'll throw in where I what I got to. Uh, Working on flowers today. Big guy. I think it's just about done. That one. Getting there. It's really close, really close. There was something I needed to do. I didn't get to it yet. And then I'm going to read the second part here of that first section. Okay. So we ended with Auerbach saying, painting is a cultured activity. It's not like spitting. One can't kid oneself. Auerbach's feelings about the museum have nothing to do with exploitable reverence, the idea of the museum as a secular cathedral that contributed so many grotesqueries to our institutional culture. He treats it as a writer treats a library, as a resource, a professional facility. Your correspondents tend to write of paintings as objects of financial value or passive beauty, he protested in a letter to the Times in 1971. For painters, they are source material. They teach and they set standards. There is perhaps no living artist more wholeheartedly in accord with Cézanne's dictum that the path to nature lies through the Louvre, and to the Louvre through nature. Auerbach does not believe that modern art made a radical break with the past. From Giotto until now, it's one school of art, and I don't think that necessarily the most radical twist occurred around 1907. What happened in France around David's time and later, when people suddenly began to invent totally independent languages for noting down what were doing, showed at least as radical a change. Géricault, Delacroix, Corot, Courbet, Ingres, Daumier, they came up with languages of a hitherto unknown disparity, unquote. These languages are present to him, as those of his or her medium must be to any serious artist. An interviewer in 1986 who asked Auerbach what artist had influenced him got a Borges-like list, Borges, he's a writer, Borges-like list of more than 50 names off the top of the head, of whom no more than a third had worked in the 20th century, and only three, Willem de Kooning, Leon Kossoff, and Francis Bacon, were alive. With some, one sees the affinity at once. The internal glow that works its way out of Auerbach's heads is partly the result of long meditations on Rembrandt. There's much in common between the overloaded surfaces of early Auerbach and the pelleted, molded skin of Giacometti's bronzes, which were in turn fed by the harsh, impacted blobbiness of Daumier's tiny clay sculptures. And all three have in common a fiercely sustained remoteness as things in the world, a disdain for the merely expressive. The way a single brush stroke turns, slaps, and becomes an autonomous sign for chin or cheek in Auerbach's portraits of JYM in the 1970s puts one immediately in mind of the radical abbreviations in Manet, and even more, the twisting faces in Goya's black paintings. The geometrical gridding of Auerbach's cityscapes of Camden Town has Mondrian in it, and his landscapes of Primrose Hill pay homage to Constable. But Whistler? Gainsborough's David? Gainsborough? David? Vermeer? In fact, the sign of an educated artist is the ability to get something out of other art that has nothing overtly to do with his or her own. That something is the sense of quality, of eloquence and precision within the matrix of a different style, epoch, and idea. The sense of the museum as one's natural ground, not just a warehouse of motifs to be appropriated, but rather the house of one's dead peers, from whose unenforceable verdict there is no appeal, but with whom endless conversation is possible. This has never left Auerbach, as it never left Giacometti. It hovers behind even the most abrupt and ejaculatory of his works. When I see the great pictures of the world paraded in my mind's eye, he remarked, they are great images which don't leak into other images. They are new things. I could name them or try to name 20 of them. The Kenwood House Rembrandt is pretty close. The Picasso of the pre-Cubist period called Head seems to me to be one of them. There's a blue cutout, late Matisse, Acrobats. There's the Dürer with the bent nose. A Philip Koninck landscape view in Holland. One hopes somehow to make something that has a similar degree of individuality, independence, fullness, and perpetual motion to these pictures. But actually, one hopes, though of course one won't achieve it, to surpass them. For me, there's something about reading about Auerbach, where he's coming from, looking at his paintings, getting a sense of it. I guess in a way, it's like what I read last time, that first part of the section. There's something that reminds me what painting is, like the power of it, the power of painting, the depth of it, the reality of it, the impact of it, and the humanity of it. We live in such we live in such times. Let's leave it at that. And there's something about the power, the depth that, of humanity that painting can carry. If we dare to go there as painters, And in some way, it feels like that's our task, particularly now. Anyway, it's true, I think. So this week, I'm going to fly out to a day at the Phillips and see the Bonnard show. That'll be fun. That'll be great. Doing a red eye for the day. I'll let you know how it goes. Again, I hope you're all well. I hope you're painting, marking, drawing, making things. Okay. I'll get this out to everybody. Well, take care. Bye-bye.